This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, go to www.librivox.org. That's librivox.org. Recorded by me, Glenn Hallstrom, a.k.a. Smokestack Jones. My email is smokestackjones@gmail.com. The Surprising Adventures of Baron Munchhausen by Rudolf Erich Raspe. To the public. Having heard for the first time that my adventures have been doubted and looked upon as jokes, I feel bound to come forward and vindicate my character for veracity by paying 3 shillings at the mansion house of this great city for the affidavits thereto appended. This I have been forced into in regard of my own honour. Although I have retired for many years from public and private life, I hope that this, my last edition, will place me in a proper light with my readers. At the city of London, England, we, the undersigned, as true believers in the prophet, do most solemnly affirm that all the adventures of our friend Baron Munchhausen, in whatever country they may lie, are positive and simple facts, and, as we have been believed, whose adventures are tenfold more wonderful, so do we hope all true believers will give him their full faith and credence. Gulliver, Sinbad, Aladdin, sworn at the Mansion House 9 November last, in the absence of the Lord Mayor, John the Porter. The Travels of Baron Munchhausen, Chapter 1. The Baron is supposed to relate these adventures to his friends over a bottle. The Baron relates an account of his travels. The astonishing effects of a storm, arrives at Ceylon, combats and conquers 2 extraordinary opponents, returns to Holland. Some years before my beard announced approaching manhood, or in other words, when I was neither man nor boy, but between both, I expressed in repeated conversations a strong desire of seeing the world, from which I was discouraged by my parents, though my father had been no inconsiderable traveller himself, as will appear before I have reached the end of my singular, and may I add, interesting adventures. A cousin by my mother's side took a liking to me, often said I was a fine forward youth, and was much inclined to gratify my curiosity. His eloquence had more effect than mine, for my father consented to my accompanying him in a voyage to the island of Ceylon, where his uncle had resided as governor for many years. We sailed from Amsterdam with dispatches from their high mightiness the States of Holland. The only circumstance which happened on our voyage worth reading was the wonderful effects of a storm, which had torn up by the roots a great number of trees of enormous bulk and height, in an island where we lay at anchor to take on wood and water. Some of these trees weighed many tons, yet they were carried by the wind so amazingly high that they appeared like the feathers of small birds floating in the air, for they were at least 5 miles above the earth. However, as soon as the storm subsided, they all fell perpendicularly into their respective places and took root again, except the largest, which happened, when it was blown into the air, to have a man and his wife, a very honest old couple, upon its branches, gathering cucumbers. In this part of the globe that useful vegetable grows upon trees. The weight of this couple, as the tree descended, overbalanced the trunk, and brought it down in a horizontal position. It fell upon the chief man of the island, and killed him on the spot. He had quitted his house in the storm, under an apprehension of its falling upon him, and was returning through his own private garden, when this fortunate accident happened. The word fortunate here requires some explanation. This chief was a man of very avaricious and oppressive disposition, and though he had no family, the natives of the island were half starved by his oppressive and infamous impositions. The very goods which he had thus taken from them were spoiling in his stores, while the poor wretches from whom he was plundered were pining in poverty. Though the destruction of this tyrant was accidental, the people chose the cucumber-gatherers for their governors as a mark of their gratitude for destroying, though accidentally, their late tyrant. After we had repaired the damages we sustained in this remarkable storm, and taken leave of our new governor and his lady, we settled with a fair wind for the object of our voyage. In about 6 weeks we arrived at Ceylon, where we received with great marks of friendship and true politeness. The following singular adventure may not prove unentertaining. After we had resided at Ceylon about a fortnight, I accompanied one of the governor's brothers upon a shooting party. He was a strong, athletic man, and being used to that climate, for he had resided...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?